Parent Entrepreneur Power, conversation number 150.
Parent Entrepreneur Power.
Wait, what? Entrepreneur Power!
This is the podcast for parents juggling the tough choices required for success in business while putting family first. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine Johnson, and I share the ups and downs and dirty truths of profits and potty training while chatting with successful parent entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Are you powered up? Hey there, Power Parents. Guess who? Mary Catherine Johnson again, and I am so glad you are here. Thank you for showing up today, because I have a guest with me that, I got to tell you, there are very few men I love in life other than my husband, and this is one of them. So be prepared, and you probably know who this man is because I talk about him all the time. Mr. Pat Flynn, who is the founder of Smart Passive Income. He is something that is so incredible, a Wall Street Journal best-selling author and an international keynote speaker. Hey there, Pat. Welcome.
What's up? How's it going? Glad to be back.
Yahoo!
Actually.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. Awesome. I mean, a lot has changed since the last time we've spoken together here in the show, and I've just grown so much as a person, as a father, as an entrepreneur. I can't wait to talk about all these great things.
Oh my gosh, yes. The first time we talked, it was really about the basics of the similarities between parenting and business and all that kind of stuff. And now I really want to, since we're at about 140 or so episodes in, we all know the similarities and the stages of parenting and business are very similar, and we know all about that.
Mm-hmm.
But now let's really get deeper into the business aspects and how we, just like as our kids grow, how do we scale and change things as our businesses grow? So I am so glad you're here to talk about that. What do you think?
Yeah, this is an important topic, and one that I've had to make a lot of mental changes with and just adaptations related to it, because you either grow and scale or you burn out. Or you don't serve your audience in the way that you should. I mean, you could stay stagnant, and that's boring, right? We always want to keep moving, and we want to move in the right direction. So I think I can come and hopefully help out as much as I can today.
Yes, and not only that, you have so many different businesses that and different segments of your businesses that I think you can lend a few pretty cool tips. I think so.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so let's get started. And now, just in case there are people out there who don't exactly know who you are, can you give us a quick little preview of how you actually got started in online business specifically?
Sure. So I actually went to school for architecture, thought I was going to do architecture for the rest of my life, and trying to make this story short, because I want to talk about all these other important things. But in 2008, I got let go, and I had then built a business sort of coming out of the architecture world by building a website to help people pass an exam that I took in the architecture space called the LEED exam. And that took off. It exploded. It did a lot better than I ever could have imagined. And then from there, I had built what is the property that most people know me from now, which is smartpassiveincome.com, where I talk about how I built not only that business now, but several other kinds of businesses, types of businesses, and just talk about what I'm doing and sometimes what I do right, a lot of times what I do wrong, but it's always a lesson for people who follow me along the way. And I believe in transparency, not that authenticity online. I try to show people that you can be yourself and do very successful things online. And I come out with a monthly income report that a lot of people are really interested in, where you could see exactly down to the penny where all my money comes from, which businesses, what kinds of marketing I do, how much I spend each month. And I'm learning as I go too. And I think that's the cool thing. I'm definitely not somebody who knows everything. And I think that's the beauty of what Smart Passive Income is. It's just kind of taking that approach where we can just kind of plan, but then execute. And that's what I believe is this is all about. Plus, on top of that, I'm very blessed because I have built the business in a way that has allowed me to still grow and scale, which we'll talk about, but also still be here at home as a father and a husband. I got two awesome kids who are now much older than the last time. My son is 6, almost 7. My daughter just turned 4 the other day. And they're both in school at the same time now, which is like the big thing and the big change in the house. And so my wife and I are both experiencing this sort of weird silence in the home, which has never been there before, and we're enjoying it. And as much as we enjoy that time, it does go by fast, and we always can't wait to see the kids again. But I work here from home. She's a stay-at-home mom, harder job than mine, and we're a team. And so I'm just stoked for the future because I have a lot of things planned, a lot of big projects coming up. Happy to talk about those, but also in the midst of that, just give as much value as I can in terms of how can we take those next steps, but do it in a smart way that allows us to sort of stay sane, stay on our feet, and not burn out.
Yes. And okay, so let's really start talking about one of those businesses. And I imagine that you can probably speak the best about this whole idea of scaling and growing and adapting with your property smart passive income. Would that be correct? Or do you want to try something else?
Yeah, I think that one would be the best to talk about just simply because it's the one that's growing the fastest and the one that I have to sort of keep up with the most. I think that would be most useful.
Yeah. So taking SPI, so I know you started with an ebook and with your architecture side and the Green Exam Academy and all that stuff. But then when you went into SPI, you started as a blog, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then what was the first product you offered after the blog, or was it just affiliate? I know you just did affiliate income in the beginning, right?
Yeah, I mean that's really what it was, and what it still continues to be. I still make a sizable amount of my income through recommendations of different products. Recently, I've come on as an advisor for many big companies and have been able to make money in that way too. But along the way, there's other opportunities to generate an income. For example, advertising both on the site and on the podcast now. I also have SPI TV, which is related to smart passive income, but that's on YouTube. And actually, interestingly enough, I hadn't even come out with a product really until 2013, which was my first book, and this was called Let Go, and that was about my journey from architecture to entrepreneurship. But that was just sort of a self-published ebook on Kindle. Recently, I published another book called Will It Fly, just came out in February 2016. This is the, again, still self-published, but much bigger project, much bigger undertaking, a year and a half to write. And I'm so thankful that it, like you said earlier, became a Wall Street Journal bestseller as a self-published book, which I didn't even think was possible. And then currently, at this very moment, as we speak, I'm putting together my first true course that's going to be launched. And so funny because I always tell people that they should create courses and provide value to their audience in that way. And it's taken me this long to finally put one together. And there's a lot of things in my head that are for that reason. But, when I first started out, it was just simply providing value through content on a blog and just trying to build an audience and, more importantly, build an email list at that time and scale that way. Then in 2009, about a year after that, I launched my YouTube channel, and that did very well. And the reason I launched that was because I was seeing numbers that were essentially the same on my blog. I was reaching the same groups of people it seemed. The numbers were always flatlining, and I was always getting comments from the same exact people on every single post. And I was looking for another avenue where I could get more exposure. And I felt YouTube was a great way to do it, even though I struggled at first because I didn't want to put my face on the camera like a lot of people don't, and I just didn't know what to talk about. I ended up doing first a number of screen recordings. So using a tool like ScreenFlow or Camtasia Studios to record what was on my screen. That way is sort of an in-between blogging, but also putting my face on camera. I wasn't putting my face on camera, but I was still speaking. But it was what was on my computer screen that people were seeing. So that was a nice sort of half step into the video world. And then I started to get a little bit more comfortable with putting my face on camera, starting to be comfortable with myself as somebody that people could see as an expert and actually see their face. And, we all worry about what people will think about how we look or things like that. Like nobody's ever said anything. Even though I look back, I'm like, what was I wearing? Why did I comb my hair that day? But nobody cares about that stuff. What they care about is the content actually helpful, and that's what I wanted to make sure was incorporated into all of my videos. And then a year after that, I started my podcast. That was July of 2010, and that was another avenue that gave me exposure to people I would have never reached otherwise. And so when you have these kind of three things, you have written content, video content, and audio content, you're able to reach people in your audience who want to hear about you and your stuff and the things that you have to offer, no matter which platform they prefer. Because some people would rather listen than read. Some people would only read. Some people will just prefer video. And now I'm not giving people any excuse to not see me. So that was like the first step of me scaling, was getting off of just being a blogger and getting comfortable with exploring other avenues and other platforms that would allow me to share similar messages in a different way and reach people that wouldn't have found me otherwise.
And, I know that you and I have spoken both during a podcast and in person and through Skype conversations, just getting together, that you've really had to make some mental shifts, some definite mindset shifts. And you've been transparent with this. And that's really, one of the most likable things, I think, of your brand and you is that you really are transparent. Who you see is who you are. And one of the things that you talked about was really the feeling that because you offered so many free things all the time and you were just doing affiliates and it wasn't really anything you were charging for, that really a big barrier you had was getting over the fact that of asking people to pay for your expertise and what you were doing.
This was huge. This was in 2013 and 2014 when I just started contemplating selling stuff to my audience finally after doing affiliate marketing for so long. And you and I, I'm so thankful for this. We had a pretty deep conversation about that. And I had to really get over that mental barrier of, why should I sell something when I can already make money through the means that I'm doing right now with affiliate marketing? Why do I deserve to earn more? And I didn't feel like I did, even though looking on the outside, it was completely obvious. And I was providing so much value and I wasn't getting paid for it in the way that I was likely deserved it. And I know that that's the case now. I do deserve to be able to reap the benefits from all the value that I'm providing out there. And I just haven't been giving people a way to give back. And so I've had many conversations, not just with you, but with other people about that too, and getting over the fact that selling is bad, because it's not. Selling is good. Mm-hmm. Selling is a favor to those who actually need that thing. Mm-hmm. And I now realize that. For the longest time, I thought selling was bad and I thought selling wasn't necessary. But then I think about my own journey. A lot of the most impactful moments in my entrepreneurial journey were related to products that I had purchased myself. Mm-hmm. And I probably wouldn't have taken those products as seriously if I just had gotten free access to them or if somebody just gave them to me. So I'm actually realizing now that for the longest time, for years, I've actually been doing my audience a disservice and I don't want to say by not charging them, but by not creating something of value that can allow people to pay me back in that way. Because you don't just want to charge.
No.
But you want to give value and provide something that is worth people's money that they would be happy to pay for. And I know that with the courses that I'm doing now, even with Will It Fly, with that book, that was sort of a nice halfway step in between me selling something, bigger and more expensive, like these courses that are coming out, and then, coming from nothing before. So it's been a huge mental shift for me, and I think that is a great lesson for everybody to listen to. There's a great book out there called It's Human to Sell by Dan Pink. Or To Sell is Human, excuse me. And, we sell every day and we don't even realize it. And it's not just selling stuff for money. We sell to our kids when we're trying to convince them of something that's right versus wrong. Right. We're trying to sell ourselves sometimes on certain actions that we should or should not take. And so selling is a part of everyday life. And so as an online entrepreneur, as a content provider, as somebody who is sharing value out there, you have to also realize that selling should be a part of your arsenal. And this sort of promo phobia that we all have, we just have to get over it.
And what was it that finally made that change, though? Because we're talking years here that you were feeling that way. And then finally talking to a lot of people. I know you wrote posts about it. You talked about it on other people's podcasts when they were interviewing you, and some of your other mentors and people that you've looked up to in the businesses that they've created. But what finally was it that made that mental shift, that got rid of that selling is bad and changed it to I am really providing a service? Because I agree 100%. People do pay for value. And if you really had to spend the time and energy to create the value that was worth someone paying for and you didn't charge for it, you would be really not just doing them a disservice, but also yourself and your family and your own business would be hurting because you are not getting paid for the value you're producing. So what made that difference?
Well, there were a few things that happened. One was like I had started earlier, looking internally at what had helped me become successful. And it was a lot of those things that I had paid for. And that was just like a quick realization. Even though I knew that, putting those puzzle pieces together and actually saying it made me realize that, well, if I hadn't paid for those things, I might not be as successful as I am today. So if I am where somebody else was, or if somebody is in that same spot and I don't give them that thing that will help them, which I know I can do, like you said, it's just not fair, and I need to do it. And it's my calling.
Right.
Secondly, I also looked way back into my email archives when I sold my first product, and I had just tried to realize why I was comfortable doing it then versus before. Mm-hmm. And I think when I was on a Green Exam Academy and I was selling that ebook, I knew that was something that was completely worth the money that I was charging. There was no question in my mind, which is why I was happy to charge for that. And looking at all those emails that I got back from customers who had said, you've helped me get a raise, you've helped me do this, thank you, Pat, calling me by name in this architecture space, getting more recognition than I was ever getting as an architect. It's really interesting. That made me realize that, well, with whatever I end up creating, I have to be that confident in the value that I'm providing. And for whatever reason, I just thought there were always people who could do it better than me. And I know that there are certain things that only I can do in the way that I can do best, and people will respond to that. And so, I always know, and that gave me the confidence that whatever I end up producing that I will charge for will be the greatest it can be. Yes. That I'm not going to, half-ass it and make it not anything worth paying for. So that gave me the confidence with what to do to create those things and all the momentum I needed to actually finish them.
Yes, thank you for that. That's exactly it. Because so many of my current clients, when I'm mentoring someone to start a business or take their brick and mortar business and bring it online, so they come up against those same things. Well, I shouldn't charge for it, or how do I know how much to charge, or they won't want to pay it, or it's all those same aspects. And if you can bring it back to really that value and feeling very comfortable and confident in the fact that even if there's someone else, how many architects are there? And they all have businesses and they all charge for their architectural services.
Right.
Right. So, it doesn't mean that, oh, well, they're better than I am, or people are going to come to you no matter what industry you are in because of you and the way you provide it and the way you present it, even if it's almost the same information, because we are human and we will very rarely come up with anything absolutely brand spanking new. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's, you are here for a reason. You are trying to do this and imparting your knowledge for a reason, not just you, but everyone out there, and do it. And yes, as long as you're bringing value, definitely.
Like maybe there's people out there who are going to provide the same value as you in the type of course that you have, but there's a person out there who just doesn't resonate with that particular instructor, who just hasn't found the person that they can learn from yet. You are that person, but you're not giving them an opportunity to find you unless you put yourself out there.
Yes. So that was a major mindset shift, and that probably opened a lot of doors for the possibility of your business to grow well beyond where it was. Mm-hmm. Right.
It did, and it's going to grow. Like I'm just in the middle of getting a beta group together for this first course that I have to make sure that the content is the way it should be, and running through an initial set of students, collecting feedback along the way. Just doing this is something that I was definitely afraid of doing before. I wouldn't even have imagined getting to this point yet. But there's some other mindset shifts that actually happened beforehand, because a lot of my team is actually helping to put a lot of this stuff together. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I have a team now is really one of the most important factors in me growing and scaling too. I think at some point in your entrepreneurial journey, you have to think beyond that you can do it all yourself, because you can't. You can to a point, but once you get to that point, you either just stay stagnant and just continue doing the same things and see very slow to little growth, or you try to keep up and try to keep growing, burning yourself out and not getting any sleep, ruining relationships that you have. Like all that sort of stuff is very common because people try to be that Superman that tries to do all the jobs. And I've realized very recently, actually late 2014, early 2015, so very recently here, that I need other people to help me do these things. And these are things in my business that I love to do that I would before couldn't imagine handing off to other people. But in order for me to grow, I need to only focus on the things that Pat Flynn needs to focus on. And the other parts of my business, despite me being great at them, despite me loving to do those things, I have to, if I want to grow and reach as many people and impact as many people as I want to, I have to let go of some of those things. And that was a very hard thing for me to do too, because in the beginning, I was the guy who was just, I can't do it all myself, so I will. And if I don't know how to do these things, I'm actually going to figure it out. I'm very much a guy in that way. It's like I'm not going to ask for directions. Like I'm going to figure it out on my own. And I would spend hours on YouTube sometimes trying to figure out how to do something, some CSS website trick or something for my website, because I just couldn't imagine hiring somebody else to do it. There was a sense of pride there in the fact that I could figure it out on my own and do it. But I know that I should have just put that stuff aside and actually hired other people. And now I know in the beginning it might be more difficult to hire people, but there's other ways around that. You could do work pro bono, get somebody to do something for you if you do something for them. I mean, there's ways around that. It's just mentally you have to understand that you have to let go of some of that work in order to grow and expand and do the bigger, bolder things that only you can do as really the CEO of your company.
Right. And I know in your situation, I know the story well, that your wife finally came to you and just you were knocking your head against the wall for moving this image or this part of an image in I don't remember what it was, Photoshop or something. And your wife had a friend who could just do it, and you handed it over and he did it in 5 seconds.
In like
felt
5
like
minutes.
Yeah,
and then
right.
He came back to me and he's like, Pat, who put your website together? The code is really bad. And I was like, I put it together.
But I know that story, but still that mindset shift doesn't just happen just because that one person did that one thing for you quickly.
Right.
Really because for me, it's two things. It's a control situation. I want to control what happens. And it's also, to be honest, a fear of vulnerability. For me, I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to have that other person take over that part of my business and either show my vulnerability, that I really didn't know what I was supposed to know or should have known, or also that I don't want to be vulnerable to that person and possibly
it's like
give that.
Too.
Yeah.
I didn't trust anybody else. And, like with parenting, it's like our websites, our business, they're our babies. Like we don't want to just let some random person come on and start taking care of our own baby.
That's right.
Like that's my baby.
That's right.
So I don't want to suggest that you let go of your baby.
Yeah, right.
But with your business, it would make sense in many cases to do that. And for me, even though that happened, and then I started to little by little get used to having other people do stuff simply because I couldn't do those things. For example, I had a person do a voiceover for my first book related to the exam website. And I remember I even tried to do that on my own. So I spent 3 days recording the audio of my study guide myself because I had some of the equipment, and it just was terrible. And then I hired somebody. She did it in like a week, and it sounded amazing. I actually ended up recouping the costs of her work in a day after selling the audiobook. Right. So that, again, little introductions here and there, but again, those were for things that I didn't know how to do or I couldn't do. The big shift for me came in 2014 when Ask Pat came out, because Ask Pat is a secondary podcast I have 5 days a week, answers a voicemail question for my audience, and there was absolutely no way possible that I would have ever gotten the show off the ground if I didn't get help. So I asked somebody for help to help me edit the show, and we came up with a system. This is another important thing that I've gotten to know very well, is just the importance of systems, so that I don't even have to think about what to do. It's a very specific order of operations that allow me to breeze through that process much faster, but also not waste any brain energy on, well, what do I do next? Because we only have a certain amount of brain energy every single day between sleep to think through, well, okay, what do I do next? Or those kind of decision-making moments. So it's already done for you. Anyway, hired this person to help with the editing and the production of Ask Pat. And now I'm at a point where I literally just record answers to questions and I send those off in Dropbox. Everything else is taken care of. I only have to spend about 3 or 4 hours a month for 25 episodes that come out. And everything else is already taken care of. So in terms of ROI, and this took a while to get used to. I mean, we really had to, my assistant and I, sit down and discover what worked best for both of us. And then that took a good month. But now just 3 or 4 hours a month to create 25 episodes, and within each of those episodes, I'm getting $300 to $400 in advertising revenue. So you do the math. For 4 hours of work, I'm getting X thousands of dollars. I mean, it's significantly high in terms of the per hour income. So it's just really cool. And that was my first taste of, wow, this is actually making me a lot more money, and it's allowing me to not only that, but provide even more value to my audience. And it's taking hardly any of my time because I have somebody else helping me along the way. And what was really cool is this person really feels like they're a part of the team. So they want it to succeed. They're coming up with their own ideas too, stuff that I wouldn't have even thought of my own. And so that was like, man, I need to hire more people like this.
Yeah.
So now I have some people helping me with a lot of things, from the editing of my other show, Smart Passive Income, to SPI TV, to some of the emails that I write. A lot of the email copy I still write myself, but there are some emails, like emails to the book club and things like that are done by other people, all approved by me before they go out, but all done by other people. So it just literally, I feel like 80, 90 hours of work a week are done, and it's not even me doing them. And I'm able to progress and grow and scale that much. And you can see it being reflected on the income reports in terms of the ROI.
Exactly. And just like you mentioned, you wouldn't just hand over your kid to anybody. You didn't just hand over Ask Pat to anybody. I mean, you had to do some due diligence and find someone and put some feelers out there to find the right person to work with.
Absolutely. I'm working with Mindy on my team, who I found through Matt, who I had initially worked with. He was my editor for Let Go back in 2013, and he had a great contact. This woman, Mindy, who's great, and she's very much a higher level member of the team now because of just what she's been able to do. But it was through a recommendation from a friend. It wasn't just somebody who I didn't know, and that's actually where I would start if you're looking for help out there. I wouldn't even go to places like Upwork.com or Craigslist or any of that stuff. Start with your network, because you're going to get the best and most trusted recommendations from your friends, and you're going to get to know from real life experiences from people that you trust what it's going to be like working with those people. And that's where I would start.
Yes, I agree. You know, what's happening lately, now that we have amazing social media tools and live streaming, is what I'm finding, what I'm doing with my own personal Facebook page and my own personal network of Facebook friends, is I'll go on Facebook Live and I'll talk about either what I need or what I'm doing and I need more clients in, or any kind of a contest I'm holding, or if I'm challenging myself to do something and I want to have somebody hold me accountable. So, I mean, that's a great place to go, to just go, hey guys, I am really in need of blank. And if you know anybody, and this is just Facebook Live, these people should know you unless you have like 5,000 friends that really aren't your friends. But, they should be able to know you and have notifications that you're on, and just put it out there and see what happens. And you would be amazed. Most of my Facebook friends don't even really know my business, because they're just friends that I've met. They don't know the intricacies of what I do. They just know I work online or something like that. So even just telling them that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. For sure. Okay. So, all right. So I see a pattern here. And like you said, with your son and daughter, they're going to school now and they're growing. And, our kids kind of require us to adapt and let go a little bit, because they'll throw tantrums if we don't. Right? And we can't carry around a 50-pound kid like they're still our newborn, right?
Or they won't grow to their fullest potential.
That's right. They'll be stunted, definitely, emotionally, for sure. So, and our businesses, usually we have to see that happening and make it happen. Otherwise, they will be stunted, just like you talked about in the beginning of our chat here.
Right. The equivalent of a tantrum in our business would be, us burning out, or no ROI, or just a decrease in sales or something.
Yeah.
But there are signs out there for our businesses too that, they're screaming for help.
But it sounds like your business was just like our kids, in the sense that Ask Pat came along and you really had no choice, because you just said 80 to 90 hours of work, and there is no flippin' way you could do that 80 or 90 hours of work in addition to the stuff you already do and ever see your family.
Oh, right. Well, the 80 to 90 included everything, but to produce Ask Pat takes, dozen, sometimes 24 more hours per month than I would normally have. And like you said, I wouldn't be able to do it unless I had some help. And that was a big mental shift for me. I had to get over the fact that, I could hand off some of the stuff that was my own that I knew how to do to other people, trust that they would do it in the way that I would want them to. But actually they ended up doing it better than I thought it would ever be. And to see the results coming from that, and to see the responses from the audience, to see even more voicemails coming every day from people asking questions, to see people wear their Ask Pat t-shirts, which again is a part of the automated process. Again, the cool thing about the show is we give a t-shirt to everybody whose question gets featured. I know you have a shirt, seen you wear it. It's awesome and it's super comfortable. But anyway, the cool thing is that part of everything is automated. It's all done by either another human being or other software. I mean, we use a tool called Printfection out there to help with the shipping and management of the fulfillment of those t-shirts. So it's not just human beings that you can rely on and get help with, but it could be software. And people are developing software all the time to help us do things in a much more convenient way. And so, with both of those things combined, I mean, there's no excuse to not be able to have systems let go of things and have your business grow.
Yeah. Now, I have looked at your income reports, and you have actually the last time I looked, you had a page that just basically had, I think, boxes that relating to each of your different blog posts in relation to each of the different income reports for different months. And you can scroll down through that page and go way back in time. Mm-hmm. And you go way back in time and you're talking, the beginnings, I think, I don't remember the lowest amount, but we're talking 8,000, 10,000 a month, something like that. And you didn't jump from 8,000, 10,000 to 126,000. No. Okay. Yeah. So, and you didn't jump from just getting help on that one, Photoshop or your Ask Pat even, to now growing your team and going back to Ohio and, connecting with and having your website redone and all these things. You didn't just jump from one to the other. There were many baby steps along the way. And I know my audience is sitting there going, yeah, Pat is Pat and, amazing money and doing incredible projects and all those things. But take me through just the changes you've had to make and the just what has to happen from a small step and just doing your ebook and just having the audio for your ebook done by someone else to the team you have now. Tell me how much time elapsed between those two things.
Oh gosh, 6 years, 7 years, and during that whole process, it is just baby steps. But what those baby steps mean is one project at a time. Right. And for me, it's not okay. Here's the 5-year plan for smart passive income. Let's get a team of 30 people right now to help make this plan happen. Right. It's like, okay, here's the plan for the next 6 months. Who do I need to help? Who do I need help from to make that happen? And let's just start with that, because that's the only thing that's on my mind right now. Like when Will It Fly came along, I needed help with the book. So we got people together to help with that. And then after that, I started to work on the website redesign. So we got people related to that. And then we started to think more long-term. So we're like, okay, well, with the website, what do we need to do? We need to be a little bit more consistent with the blog posts that are coming out. So let's hire a content editor, managerial editor to help with the whole content scheduling thing. And her name is Jana. She's been amazing. And we didn't hire her until we really felt like we needed her. And so we don't go beyond the next project that we're working on. And that was, to me, key to helping keep me sane, to help with the fact that I don't need to pay for this amazing, huge team right up front, but it can grow one project at a time. And I think it's really important that you understand clearly what your goals are, or else you're going to be either hiring the wrong people or hiring for the wrong reasons. You need to know where you want to go and then work backwards from there and get the team involved for where you want to go and where you are at in that process from right now.
So, in closing, I know I could totally monopolize your time, but definitely don't want to. So, but in closing, so someone's sitting out in the audience going, "Yeah, I think I am at that point. I've been a solopreneur. I've been doing it all myself, but I'm scared. If they're like I was, I don't want to be vulnerable.
Totally scary. Totally scary.
It is. Everything we do is scary until we do it.
And even then,
yeah, and even then, sometimes, yeah, like jumping out of an airplane. I don't know." It is
well, for me, it's public speaking. I still get scared of it.
Well, especially in the beginning, right before you go on stage. I mean, that's just no matter what, that energy, that instant fear of, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk out in front of how many people?
Yeah, but that's how you know it's great. And I think that's why this is important when we talk about hiring other people, building your team, scaling in this way, getting over those mindset changes. The fact that it scares you is a good sign.
Yes.
It basically means you know that you're headed in the right direction. It's a big and bold enough move to have things happen. Yeah. And I would be scared if you weren't scared of it. That would mean you're in your comfort zone, and nothing great happens in your comfort zone.
No.
You're just comfortable. But all the great stuff happens outside of that. So I actually look toward that fear now. I look toward that sign. If my stomach isn't churning a little bit, then I probably am not going big enough.
Right. So starting out with that, their stomach's churning. What advice would you give them? What should they do next? Both mindset and action.
Well, there's a really good book out there that I would recommend by a good friend of mine. His name is Chris Ducker. It's called Virtual Freedom. This one helps you with the team building aspect, because there is a lot that is involved with like hiring other people, managing other people, and you can. I know some people who have gone down the trek of hiring people, and then they ended up losing more time because they micromanage those people. Mm-hmm. And then they, it's like defeats the whole purpose. So Virtual Freedom is a great book to get started with it. That'll also help you nail down exactly. There's some exercises in there that'll help you nail down exactly what it is that you should be letting go of clearly. And so that's a good first step in terms of, the team building aspect. And it doesn't even matter how big or small you are now. You can hire for the tasks that you're doing and the roles that you want filled. The other thing is again, just I think this is really important, just being really, really clear on what your goals are and where you want to be. This is why the whole first part of Will It Fly is all dedicated to your future and why you're doing what you're doing. And so, Will It Fly is a great book for that. There's a lot of great internal looking exercises in the beginning that'll help you understand that, because where you want to go helps you define what your actions are now. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle. We're doing actions now, not really knowing where we want to go, and we just end up losing gas, and we end up crashing, and we don't want that to happen. But I think, also getting inspired by other people and getting motivation by listening to great podcasts like this one and others is also important. But, it's the action that you take, and I would really consider, okay, what's your next one thing that you want to work on? What's your next one big goal? And who do you need to get involved with to make that happen? What are some systems and strategies you can use to get there faster? And then also visualize and to anticipate what it might look like on the other side of that. I think that's another big thing for me that I've implemented recently. I started to do a lot of meditation and visualization, using a lot of the tips from Hal Elrod in his book, The Miracle Morning, actually thinking about what people are going to say to themselves as they're going through my course, what they're going to tell their spouse after they, earn their or after taking the strategies in my course. Like that sort of stuff is super motivating, and when you can actually internalize it and visualize it, it's going to be more likely that you're going to put forth that effort to actually complete the next task that you want to do.
Definitely. Thank you for that. And I know the Power Parents out there, I've been talking about a couple of books that really helped me make a lot of these kinds of mindset shifts. And the first one is The Big Leap. By Gay Hendricks. I love that book. And then the second one is a relatively new one, and I think you have this one too, or know about this one, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani of Mind Valley.
Mind Valley, yeah.
Oh my gosh, huge shift in thought process with that, in mindset, and of course meditation, visualization, and just putting yourself in that. I love that feeling, don't you? Where you actually put yourself in the mindset of someone else and how they're going to react to what you're doing. Isn't that powerful?
It's super powerful, and it's not like you're tricking yourself. It's literally a strategy you can use to visualize and remember why you're doing what you're doing.
And if we do that, not you, but Power Parents, the one thing that changed my parenting more than any other was to put myself in the place of my, say, 3-year-old who's throwing a tantrum. Why are they throwing a tantrum? Right? Putting myself in their place and what they're feeling, what's going on. And that will benefit you greatly when they get into middle school and high school, because they probably won't tell you. You'll have to figure it out.
I love it.
Pat, I thank you so much. I so appreciate you coming on again and chatting about these next steps. And, we're just going to follow everything you're doing next and enjoy the ride with you, definitely.
Thank you so much. There's a lot coming, so stay tuned. But thank you again for having me on the show. I appreciate you all.
Okay, Power Parents, if you have listened to this show at all over the last 150 episodes so far, you know that Pat Flynn is one of my favorite people in the world. And I sincerely hope you got some major results, major actionable steps out of this conversation, because he's really incredible and so sweet. So if you are ready, or if you just have recently changed your mindset, or if you're ready to do so and really tackle some of the things that Pat talked about, they take a change of mindset. I am currently reading the book. Yes. I think it was, oh gosh, I don't remember who it was that I finally pushed me over the edge to get this book. But from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I have not read that yet. I'm actually on chapter 2, and that's all he's talking about. Obviously the title, Think and Grow Rich. So when you change your mindset, you change your life. And I'm talking physically, spiritually, emotionally, with your relationships, with your work, with everyone around you. Change your mindset and you change your life. Seriously. So if you are ready to change your mindset, or if you have changed your mindset recently, please let me know. Go to the show notes, parententrepreneurssuccess.com/PEP150. And please leave a message for Pat there if you felt that his advice on this chat affected you at all. Because if you have listened to him, that's what lights him up. Just like it's what lights me up. Let him know. Leave a message on the show notes and let him know what you've done. Let me know what you've done to change your mindset to create your own success. All right. I hope you have an incredible end to 2016. You probably will hear this at the end, in the beginning of December, at the end of 2016. And I so hope that month is going to just fire you up and power you up for an incredible 2017. If you think I can do anything to help in that, go to the show notes and I'll have a link for you to schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me to see how I can help you set up your 2017. Seriously, I know most of you won't take me up on that, and that's totally cool. But the few of you who actually do, you will be blown away by what we can do together to set you up for 2017 in just 30 minutes. I promise. I will do my best. All right, I'm done. I'm out. And enjoy the journey. To get powered up for your day, just go to parententrepreneur.power.com and listen to any one of the over 100 episodes we've had so far with amazing entrepreneurs just like you. It might just help you feel like a grown-up again.